All right, shalom, shalom. Welcome back. What it do? It's your boy Yehuda, and it's another edition of Real Talk Yehuda. Today's topic, what I want to talk about, is our health and eating habits. Okay, so about a week and a half ago, I did my unboxing video of when I bought my first juicer and doing some juicing. And so I'm going to do a little bit of an update as I've learned a couple of things, experimented a little bit um, about juicing and just our health in general. Because as Hebrews, um, whether asleep or awake, we gotta be taking care of our health. All right. So if you a Hebrew, you're supposed to already know we keeping the dietary laws in Leviticus and in Deuteronomy, right? So we shouldn't be touching nothing that's unclean. That's number one, right? That's gonna make a huge difference in our health. Eating according to what the Most High has commanded us. So that's number one. Number two, what I noticed a lot of just the American Western kind of diet and stuff like that, especially in America, even more than like Europe and stuff like that, is we overeat. And that was something that, I addressed probably 2 years ago, myself, was that I'd been, only eating what was clean and authorized by the Most High. And I've always been pretty athletic and stuff like that my whole life, but I was starting to get a little bit of kind of like a little beer belly. So it was like I was skinny fat. You know what I'm saying? Like, from the chest up, still athletic, and from the waist down, still athletic. But then I was starting to get a little bit of a beer belly, and so I wasn't cool with that, and just doing some research and stuff, and finding out, hey, we're eating just too much. So things that I would do is say I was gonna have a steak, right, which is clean, which is kosher, but we don't need to eat the whole steak. That's overeating. So, instead of having the whole steak, maybe I only need half, so it's a smaller portion. Instead of having, a whole side of mashed potatoes or something like that, maybe you only need a little bit of mashed potatoes, etc., etc., right? So that's one thing that we can do to improve our health, improve our longevity, increase our energy, make sure that we're taking care of ourselves because we in this for the long haul. You know what I'm saying? We in this for the long haul. So, that's one thing that we could do. Another thing that I learned about maybe 8 or 9 months ago, and a brother had shared this information with me, and he's like a fitness guru and health guru. This brother doesn't consume alcohol and certain things that he just won't eat at all. And the dude is like chiseled, you know what I'm saying? Really takes care of his health and fitness. And so one of the things that he was sharing with me that I'm going to share with you guys in this video is it even matters what time of day we eat. And what happens here in the West is we typically have our heaviest meal of the day at quote unquote dinner time, right? So usually 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 p.m., we're eating our heaviest meal, which is causing us to be more out of shape and more overweight and things like that. When in fact, we should actually have our heaviest meal of the day around noon or whatever, time that you would typically have your quote unquote lunch. That should be your heaviest meal of the day. So you want to start out in the morning with something light. And then, when you get to your lunch time, that's when you would have your heaviest meal of the day. And you would have that heaviest meal of the day during quote unquote lunchtime. And then in the evening, when you would typically be having dinner, right, you want to have something light again. And so that's part of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys some of the juicing that I've learned and a cool recipe that I've kind of discovered that I really like a lot. And we'll break that down. So let's get into the juicing. All right, cool. So what we have here, what I've noticed is in the juicing, you probably want to only have, uh, 7 or less items or ingredients that's in your juicing. And you want to have a good balance between like your veggies, your herbs, um, and like your fruits, right? So in this particular blend that I have discovered or come across that I like, um, I have four herbs basically, dark green, leafy, healthy herbs, and then I have three fruits. So what I have on, starting from the left, is I have some watercress. Excellent, excellent, excellent herb that we should all be consuming uh, on a regular basis. And what watercress does is it helps to detoxify your body of like heavy metals, which is a lot what a lot of herbs do. And it's one of the, if not the most nutrient dense food that we know of is watercress. So I got my watercress. Here I have some fresh leafy spinach that I'm going to put in there. Excellent, excellent, good source of iron, nutrients and vitamins. Then I have kale, right? A lot of people know about kale and the superfood that kale is and how good and healthy this is. And then over here I have cilantro. And cilantro, another herb, excellent, excellent, also helps removing heavy metals from the body. Now, what happens with these heavy metals, if you don't know, is most of the time the heavy metals work their way up to our brains. So, it's not like you're drinking the water and it has lead and all this poison that they're putting in the water and the junk and the poison they're putting in the food. You know, it's not like it's going to your calf muscles or your arms or something like that. Those toxins and those heavy metals find their way into your brain, which is horrible. It's making us go crazy. We're not thinking as sharp as we should, and we're not having the behavior that we should have. And we need to, detox and we need to cleanse those things out, get those heavy metals off of the brain. So these are the four herbs basically that I'm going to be going with in this particular juice mix. Then I have my three fruits, and from right to left, I have pineapple. And what I've kind of figured that I like in my recipes is I'll get a fresh pineapple, I'll cut it in half, and then I'll cut it in half again. So I'll have quarters. And basically I'll take 1/4 of the pineapple each time I do a juice. So I'll basically get 4 juices out of a pineapple. So I've got my quarter of pineapple chopped up. And then I have dragon fruit, which I had never actually tried until I start juicing. And then I found like this dragon fruit is delicious. And you get a good amount of juice out of it also. And it's super, super healthy, just the way that the Most High intended. And you can see that it's full of its seed within itself. So great. And then I have like half of a mango that I have chopped up. And I forgot to tell you, I think I have about half of the dragon fruit in here also. So I've got like 1/4 of a pineapple, half of a dragon fruit, half of a mango that are all chopped up and ready to go to put into the juicer. So, hey, if you guys have other recipes or anything like that, feel free to comment, and things like that. And this is just the start of my journey, so I'm like a week and a half into juicing, and this is where I'm at in my journey so far. So the way I like to do it is I like to start out with my herbs first, and then my fruits at the end. So let's get juicing. All right, now what I have here is I've gone ahead and I've loaded my watercress and my cilantro, and I'm going to juice these first. So let's get to juicing. All right, and there's all that good healthy juicing coming out of there. Next, I'm going to do the spinach and the kale. So let's get it going. All right, so we got some spinach and some kale loaded in. So let's go ahead and get this juiced up. And look at all that healthy nutrients coming out of there. And this stuff actually tastes delicious. If you guys don't know about juicing, it is absolutely delicious. Definitely we need to be juicing. Sweet. So we got all of our herbs juiced. And now I've got it loaded with the mango. So let's go ahead and get this mango juice. There we go. So we got our juice out of the mango. And now I'm going to load the dragon fruit. And here we are with the dragon fruit. And as you can see, we get a lot more juice out of the fruits than we did, you know, the herbs and everything. I mean, that juice immediately coming out from the dragon fruit. And lastly, we're going to get our pineapples, and we're going to have this delicious, healthy superfood juice that is just delicious and awesome for our health. All right, so for sake of time, I went ahead and I pretty much juiced all the pineapple, and this is the last little batch of pineapple left that I'll catch on camera. But you can see you get a ton of juice out of that quarter of the pineapple. So let's go ahead and get this pineapple juiced up. And there we have it. We have our juice. It is delicious. It's super healthy. Man, and it's just great to go, you know. And all right, so now that we're all done juicing, I want you to see just how easy it is to, you know, take it apart. There's just these two little levers on the side. They pop right off. You know, this top piece, it just comes right off. There's all the pulp. You just dump that in the trash. You know, I'm going to sit it in the sink for a second. You know, piece right here, you got most of your pulp and everything in there. Toss that out in the trash. And then it rinses right out. You don't even have to like really scrub hard or nothing. I mean, it pretty much 95% of it comes out. You just toss it, rinse it out, and I mean, you're pretty much already clean just from there. This top part, it basically just twists off. I'm trying to do it with one hand, so it looks like it's difficult, but it's not. I'm just the one hand bandit right now. Let me see if I could lean against it and twist it. All right, that ain't working. Either way, it just comes right off or whatever with both hands. Instead of the one hand. So, you know, taking it apart and clean up is easy. Doesn't take much maintenance at all. So, hope you guys get started juicing, and I'll see you in the next segment. All right, perfect. So, I've got my juice made. I just broke down the juicer, rinsing it out to cinch. And really what I noticed with the juicer that I have, and different juicers might function differently, but with the juicer that I have, basically the only kind of like cleanup you have to do is light cleanup on the actual blade part. Fortunate for me, you know, I have my wife. My wife will take care of that. So I ain't doing none of that part. But, you know, I try to make it, you know, as easy as possible for her. And fellas, you know, if you're married and stuff like that, you should be doing that. Try to the best of your ability as you're growing and you're developing and a husband and a father. Make things as easy as possible on your wife. Don't overload your wife, you know what I'm saying, with things. And it's all part of the growing process. So I know that, hey, my wife, one of her responsibilities is doing the dishes. So if I could break down the juicer and toss the pulp, rinse everything down and stuff, so that it's pretty much ready for her to go, and all she has to do is come in 2 minutes, a quick wipe down, some soap and water, and everything's good to go. That's going to take the pressure off her. That's going to make her life easier. It's going to make, in turn, my life easier. I'm going to have, you know, my wife with more energy and vibrant and happy and enthusiastic, you know, about doing these different things, right? And let's just be, let's keep it real, right? This is real talk, Yehuda. So let's keep it 1,000. One of the benefits of functioning a certain way, right, is going to directly affect your sex life, right? It's going to directly affect your sex life. Now, you know, if you've been following any of my videos for any amount of time, you know, I've only had this channel for like, what, 8 or 9 months now, something like that, 8 months. What you're going to notice is that I talk a lot about polygyny. So one of the things in being a husband, if you are going to engage in polygyny and be a husband and you know, functioning at your best, you need to be juicing. You need to be juicing. because you need to have the energy, the stamina, the strength, and the power to satisfy multiple women. And a lot of you brothers think that you can, but you cannot. You know what I'm saying? This ain't pimping. This ain't macking like if you in the world or in the streets. You know what I'm saying? And you got 3 or 4 chicks you messing with or whatever the case is. You know what I'm saying? Nah. Engaging in polygyny, you have a lifetime responsibility to your women. So this ain't like, you got a little jump off that you mess with here and there or something like that or whatever. Now, if you have a concubine or wife or wives, you have to be satisfying them on a regular basis. And you have to have the strength, power, and stamina and the endurance to be able to do so. You know what I'm saying? You got to be able to please, 6 days out the week. And some people might feel a little different. They might say 7, etc., etc. Being that I'm a Hebrew, that I study the scriptures and get into scriptures, in the book of Jubilees, it lets us know that, we're not supposed to be having sex, laying with our wives or anything like that on the Shabbat. So, one of the interpretations with that is being that, hey, you have 6 days to labor and do all of your work and to plant seed. And on the 7th day, you rest so that you can be refreshed. So, many Hebrews take that approach that, you got 6 days out the week that you could lie with your wife or wives or concubine or whatever. And on the 7th day, it's set apart and holy to the Most High. One of the other things that you guys should know, if you study in the scriptures, then you would know when you do lay with your woman or wives, whatever the case is, when you do lay with your woman, you're pretty much unclean. So you're supposed to take up the bed sheets, whatever clothing you had on or anything like that needs to be put in the dirty clothes for laundry or washed, whatever the case is. You need to put new bed sheets and stuff like that. And then you're supposed to take a bath, whether that's, sitting in the tub, shower, whatever. Okay. You're supposed to wash yourself in water, you and your woman. Supposed to wash and clean yourselves. And then you are unclean until the evening. All right. That's a commandment. So you can't lay with your wife basically on the Shabbat. And we know that Friday evening at sunset is starting the Shabbat, right? So when the sun is setting on Friday evening, well, you can't lay with your wife Friday night because now you're going to be unclean all during Shabbat until the following evening. Now, one thing you can do is, hey, you got the day of prep. It's earlier Friday. You better try to get it in before that sunset. You try to get it in and wash up and clean up and everything like that. So that as the sun sets and it's evening for Shabbat, then you clean during the Shabbat. And then you would abstain, pretty much for that 24-hour period from sunset to sunset. And then Saturday night, you free to get busy again. So that's part of the juice and also that we need to be understanding. One other thing, and I have to give credit to another brother. I don't know him personally. All right, well, I got cut off. I have to go. I have other things to do. So with that being said, it's been real. This is Real Talk Yehuda. Shalom. Love you, family. Peace.